Hi, everyone. I'm going to be sharing how I use Lucid in two different roles. So, my day job, I teach 3K through eighth grade technology in New York City, and I teach a lot of pre-service New York City teachers who will be coming into teaching New York City about using educational technology. So, when I think about Lucid, I think about so much more than just a single activity. I think about how we can create accessible formative assessments. So, with all the different features and tools that are available, I see so many opportunities to leverage collaboration and support teachers in understanding what their students know, what they don't know, and then adjusting their teaching. And the way I think about this a lot is as a teacher, and I know in my K to 8 role, we hear about this formative assessment a little bit more. And in higher education, I hear about it a little bit less, but I think that it is really universal. A pilot gets on the plane, starts flying, and then says, okay, I landed. Is this London? And whether or not it's London, you all got to get off because I'm going to go to my next flight now. Right. And that's kind of what teaching without any sort of assessment along the way feels like. And the benefits of using Lucid for me are that I know where my students are before we land, right? But we also get real-time insight so that I don't have to wait until the next lesson to think about how I'm going to change my instruction. I can think about it now in the middle of the lesson, in the beginning of the lesson, at any point when I ask my students this question, so that no student is left behind. And this comes up in a lot of different ways. And I brought a whole bunch of examples. So one thing I just want is visualizing student thinking when we do things like drag and drop boards, sequences. I can see it at a glance. I also really benefit a lot from collaboration because a lot of times learning isn't an individualized process. It's learning itself is collaborative. So the assessment piece at this point can be as well. Another benefit is the accessibility piece to it. I teach in a space where both in higher education and in K-8, English is not always a student's first language, and writing with a pencil and paper are not always the most accessible to them. So having multiple mediums, whether it's visual, whether it's typing in a different language and then translating it, it just reduces a lot of barriers for our multilingual learners, neurodiverse learners, and just quiet participants in general, those students who don't necessarily feel comfortable raising their hand. So I have a couple examples of what that looks like and how I would give feedback. So my first one is actually still on this slide. I have students learning about sports in Guatemala. And this was the social studies concept that my students were learning about. And each student was just assigned a topic. They wrote their ideas down. And you can see that students were collaborating with each other and drawing arrows from one idea to another. And that's something that if you asked a student in this demographic to do in person, that would have felt overwhelming or maybe even impossible. Some students in this class could not physically walk around, didn't speak the same language as the kid who they connected to. And so that was just one example. Another one I have here is an ENL class that students were learning to speak English. And they played a Jeopardy game. And so many times teachers have these templates and they're paper and they need to be laminated. And this took around 5 minutes to generate. And there's an AI component to Lucid being able to generate some of these pieces to it. There's templates that the teachers can use. So this made this type of assessment really flexible across all subjects for my K to 12, for my higher education. But now I want to move on to a little more of a deeper subject. So I had visualizing an executive function. So when students need to plan out a project, a lot of times we'd ask them to write out all the steps. And it takes a long time. And when they make a mistake, they have to go back and fix something. So in this activity, I prompted my students to think, what materials do you need to solve? They were creating a Rube Goldberg machine. And immediately I could see what materials they thought they needed, whether that matched what we were discussing in class. And it was more accessible. I actually had a student use eye gaze to drag and drop. Would this student be able to use all these materials independently? No. Would they be able to write all these materials out independently? Definitely not. But immediately I could see misconceptions about what the materials would do, gaps in their sequencing or the logic in creating their Rube Goldberg machine, and also just patterns across class that they were noticing. And because it was accessible, and in this case, almost no language involved at all, more students were able to participate independently. And I have that example here as well, where my students could drag and drop in what order they would need all of their different materials. And then I have another example where I used a story that I had read with some really young students, making their comprehension visible. So it was a simple visual activity, a drag and drop. And immediately I could see when the students dragged and dropped what they understood of the story, what they misunderstood, any gaps in vocabulary and understanding. And again, this was so accessible that every student could and did engage independently. And what was so funny is in the beginning of this session, when someone said, "Oh, I was made for this quiz," a lot of students, whenever you present something as a quiz, that is not their response. Their response is, "Oh no, this barrier, this wall comes up. It feels uncomfortable." When you present an assessment in this way, students feel way more engaged and don't necessarily recognize that they are being quizzed. And it creates way more success, accuracy, and understanding what they know. And I had students also here of some of the lowest cognitive functioning students that I've taught, but they were able to drag which part of the story was the problem and what was the solution. And they had fun and they loved that at the end of it, it celebrates them no matter what their response was. That confetti throw is everything to some students. And while all of this feels very K-8 heavy, and definitely because that is my day job, that's what I presented a lot of, I also use this a lot in my higher education classes. So what I have here is an example from my Intro to Educational Technology class, and I have a formative assessment for these students as well. And I ask them to reflect on the networks that they have, their bonding, linking, structural, and cognitive and social capital. So what are things that they bring to the classroom that they can support their students with? And a lot of teachers don't think about that when they come in, that they're bringing more than just the textbook, the pedagogical knowledge. They're bringing a lot with them. And some areas they're stronger in, and some areas they're weaker in, as we all are. So what I had my students do is use this map to write down some things that they're good at, some things that they need to work on or to identify. And the beauty is right here, I have one student. When every frame is filled with a different student, I then ask them to go beyond their own metacognition, right? Besides for the formative assessment that I'm asking them to take, I'm saying, you're a more sophisticated thinker. And what you can do is connect with other people. So assessment often has this, I'm being checked, I'm getting a grade. The assessment is just to determine what are we going to do next. And sometimes what they're going to do next doesn't have to do with me as the teacher. It has to do with what steps they're going to take next. So if they read someone else's and say, wow, we're both struggling on this, and they connect with an arrow and they can work on that together. Or they see something that someone has, like, wait, I really need help with that. And you're really good at that. Let me connect with you. So when this screen looks like 30 of these with arrows going all over the place, it is on the one hand very overwhelming to look at, which is why I'm showing just one now, but it is also the most beautiful form of formative assessment because they're saying, I know where I am and I can show my teacher what I understand, what I have strengths in, what I'm have weaknesses in, but I can also take action steps. I can lean on my peers and find support from my peers to take next steps to become a better teacher in this course's case. But this goes so beyond any one topic, any one age. I really, really want to emphasize that formative assessment comes back to that getting off the airplane. We don't get off without knowing where all our students are. And in some cases, we give them the tools to get off the plane on the right location themselves.